Hey guys, this is kind of a quick overview for the Hisense A9. Just got a request to show kind of like how it performs when reading and looking at YouTube and stuff like that. So I'd give like a quick little overview, I guess. um, so this fingerprint reader is pretty snappy, just like that. Right now I have it in clear mode, so everything looks really crisp and clean. I should note that there was an anti-glare screen protector already on it when I opened it, so that's kind of nice. You can see there's a little bit of glare, but it's not bad at all. I'm sitting right next to a window, so I'll go ahead and show you some reading. I just got the Bible app here. Doesn't matter, just go there. So this is clear mode, and when you can see scrolling, it's pretty good as far as that goes, because I have it on dynamic refresh, which is on by default. I'll show you what that's about in a minute if you haven't read up on it. So that's what it's like in clear, and then the button on the side here, I can click on it. So now it's unbalanced. You can see it's still pretty nice. And smooth mode, a little bit more ghosting, but it's still not bad. And then do it again, speed mode. I mean, it's still pretty legible. Even the ghosting is not bad at all, even in the fastest mode, which is speed mode. And sorry about the camera moving and stuff. I'm trying to hold it with one hand, my old phone in one hand. Okay. Then I have the floating navigation. That's not default. I just turned it on because I actually kind of like it. So you can hold it to go home. And I think we're back on clear mode. The system remembers what app you were using for what mode, which is kind of nice. So you can see when I swipe here, it has a little bit of refresh, but that's due to the dynamic refresh and stuff like that. But so I'll go ahead and play a video. YouTube isn't supported by default, so I use YouTube Vance, which works pretty good. But there is a setting that you need to, or permission you need to enable for it to work at all. Otherwise, you'll see no data and stuff like that appear. So it's on clear mode. So what dynamic mode does is it switches it to a different mode while you're scrolling, and then switches it back to clear mode when you're done scrolling. So you can see it's nice and crisp here. As soon as I start scrolling, you see it gets a little bit fuzzier here. But then I let go, it refreshes back to clear mode. So it's good for reading and scrolling and stuff. So I'll go ahead and just tap on this Bully Maguire video because it's kind of funny. This thing's got pretty loud speakers. Let me turn it down. You can see clear mode, not the best for videos. I'll swap it right now. So there's balanced, which isn't horrible. It's not the best. Smooth mode. Smooth mode's probably my favorite. Like there's, ghosting and stuff, but they have pretty high frame rate.
Still got the moves.
Speed mode has the most amount of ghosting. You can see it's a bit more annoying. I would definitely prefer the previous mode out there. But yeah, you can see with that. Auto rotate's also off by default, so I toggle that on just to let you know. And so this is a gesture based thing that you can move around this thing. So you tap it once to go back, double tap to open your recent apps, hold it to go home, And I'll show you the settings here. So you've got different settings like for dynamic refresh. Dynamic refresh will only work for clear mode. It doesn't apply to any other mode, which makes sense for scrolling. So balance mode, that's what I have by default. A smooth mode looks smoother. I'll show you, but it has a lot more screen refresh, which now it's not doing it. Make me look like a liar. Oh, you know what? I'm not on clear mode. My bad. Yeah, there we go. It looks so good. I didn't even know it wasn't on clear mode. See, the whole screen just flickers and refreshes. It's a smoother experience when you're, dragging and everything up and down for smooth mode. But the whole screen refresh thing, I don't like it. So I'll switch that back to balance and you can see what the difference is. See, a little bit choppier, but you don't have that whole screen flash thing every time, you let go and stop scrolling. And let's see. Okay, so 2 last things I wanted to showcase. One is pretty cool with the lock screen. When you lock it, you can have it do a different picture from a set number or a selection of pictures in the settings. You can choose your own pictures or use what they got. So it'll change every time, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing, just like the other Hisense phones from what I've seen, this button here, you can set it to use a voice assistant. But the problem is, even if you change it to something else in the settings, it still brings up the default voice assistant, which is only in Chinese. So what I figured out is there's this software right here. I think it's just called Key Mapper. I'm not 100% sure. But it lets you remap certain keys. So in this case, I remapped the volume down button here. So I have it when I long press, it launches the software voice assistant, which when you do it the first time, it'll prompt you to pick which voice assistant you want. In this case, I picked Amazon's voice assistant, which I will not say because of reasons. And which is good. So it'll launch it instead, which I'll show you here in a second. And now this you have to make sure you put an action for the volume down normally. So when you push it down just once, it's gonna still change the volume, because by default, I think it just prevents it from being used after you bind it to something else. So just a heads up. So this can work anywhere. So I'll get out of here. I'll go ahead and hold the volume down button. What's the weather in Los Angeles?
Currently, in Los Angeles, California, it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit with partly sunny skies. Tonight, you can expect cloud.
I guess I could have just hit that button. But yeah, you can see it's pretty cool. So I can just hold down the volume down button to invoke the assistant instead of having to not have an assistant because of the Chinese thing. I guess a couple thoughts. What's a bit frustrating is the no Google services. I will say that's going to be a big frustration, because there are some, I guess, services that need that for push notifications. So there's some apps that I don't get push notifications at all from. So I have to resort to use like third-party apps and such, like the official Facebook app, for instance. I don't get notifications from that, so I use a different app, which is called Friendly. I get those notifications, and I use Relay for Reddit and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want any kind of like alternate suggestions for popular apps, just let me know in a comment. I'll let you know if I've used it or not. But things like Facebook Messenger work great. You can you can have a floating chat bubble and stuff. It's kind of hit or miss on that. I'm not sure. At first, it doesn't seem to want to work, but after a while, it just kind of works. So I don't know what the deal is, and it hasn't stopped working since. So, but yeah, just keep in mind about the push notifications. One of the big ones is I like to get deal notifications on Twitter, and I'm not able to get that at all. I haven't found like an alternate way to do that yet. But because of this chip, it's supposedly easily rootable. So we can get, native Google stuff hopefully in the near future. There's also an option in the settings. Let me see. Kind of looking through my other phone to operate this, so forgive me. I think I have to actually search for it because it doesn't show up in the regular. I'm also using Gboard as the keyboard. It's a lot easier to input text and all that stuff. You can even just swipe. I'm just kind of doing it the long way. So I'm going to go to developer options. And there's an interesting option here that says OEM unlocking allows the bootloader to be unlocked. So I haven't, enabled that. I'm no developer or anything, so I don't understand a lot of that stuff and I don't want to mess with it. Yeah. And another thing is this is the 6 gig model, and the way I have it set up, I'm using 4 gigs. I'm not even sure how I'm using that much. Let's see. Android OS is already just 1.5 gigs. I guess it's just kind of nickel and diming it, but even still, it doesn't seem like it should be using that much RAM. But just keep that in mind. Again, if we get a custom ROM or something, it might be more efficient. So, all right. Well, I hope you kind of enjoyed this demonstration here. Yeah, just let me know what you think.